and presentations, and I'm sure that presentations and know-how has been useful to all of the participants. I would like to share some of my experience in the field of digitization, bringing it to the specifically aluminum smelting or recycling process. So I hope this session would help you to give you some more insight how you could digitize your process in terms of aluminum smelting or recycling process. So India is one of a unique place, as you all agree probably, where our manufacturing operations are neither 100% automized or let's say fully robotics moving around and robots are taking all our jobs. That's not happening. And it's also not the case where 100% all your operations are manual. So we are in the middle of somewhere where we, I would say, wisely use the combination of human and automation with the best of both skill and technology available and usefulness of it. And that is why India is probably much more competitive, because it is wisely using the combination of human as well as robotics and automation in the manufacturing sector. Now, coming to specifically aluminum, or let's say in general smelting, melting and recycling or foundry area, I have been working with them since last 10 years to digitize their various process, working on Industry 4.0, as well as the biggest challenges, if it's not fully automatic, still how to get data in real time from them, because it's a human operation. You will not be able to put the chips in the body of human. I don't think India is going that way down, but the point is, despite being a human and manual operations, how could we bring data from them, from the operations in real time? That is a challenge, and there is an advantage. So we will see both of them, what is a combination of that is helping and what we can overcome this challenge. This is a normal practice of aluminum. I think last 2 days you all know, and you are coming from that background, so I will not go into that. Specifically coming to the external factors, what are challenging, and everyone is talking about which are external factors. So let's say whether it's a scrap rate or transport cost, competition, electricity cost, we cannot change this. This is beyond your control. So that's why I'm saying is external factor. No matter how many hours we spend discussion on that, probably you or me cannot change this cost. This is there and you have to deal with it. So the point is, you are not able to change this external factors playing a role. But what is in your head? What are the factors that may play a role, but the control is still within yourself, within your company, within your team? So those factors are like electricity wastage, material usage, right charge mix, shortest possible time to melt and pour, various specifications, SOPs, guideline to melt them. Those kind of things, if in place, you will be still able to be more competitive and deliver the quality products despite of external factors which are playing a role for everyone, not just for you. So this is an area where we are going to see how we can find out some balance. What are the current challenges as far as foundry, smelting and recycling process and in around? So the first complaint and first challenge everybody or every company is doing is that limitation of skill and investment in automation. Fair enough. I don't think, as I said, that India is going to fully robotic in any manufacturing process even next decade. There will be some pace, but not now. So that means there is a know-how, there is a skill required to produce, whether it's X process or Y process, and that skill is of course limited. Whatever know-how of melting, recycling, all sort of chemical composition, its effect, impact on quality, performance, strength, these are all limited know-how. So this is there, and we have to find a way that even if tomorrow that skill is not available, how your operations and company can still run if there are enough know-how available and system built to use this skill and know-how available right now to guide you in the future. That is possible. Cheap labor cost versus cost of human error, possible. High productivity without automation. How to get higher productivity if you don't have automation? That's also another challenge, right? Real-time data process parameter controls with or without IoT. Now, this is kind of things which is affecting your pocket, your profit, your productivity. So if we say that, okay, it's not going to happen that, you know, like 10-15 robots are moving around, that's not going to happen, but still I want my process data, still I want to have an overview and intimation if something goes wrong. So is it possible somewhere we are going to discuss those area that even if my human operations, but I still need real-time data, still I need a process parameter that I can take action and stop something before it becomes wastage and loss of money for my company. So this is what we are into WESEP solutions, where we have been supporting since 10 years of our experience in Foundry and otherwise, which could, some of the challenges can be taken over by that. So we will focus on internal factors, what we have just mentioned. We will focus how in real time we get data without IoT. This is important, without IoT, okay? Overall unavailability of skill, how we can record those data and utilize them. So what I'm showing you right now is a schematic, the possible way, one of the possible way you could digitize your aluminum smelting or recycling process. That could be one of the way, okay? So in any smelting or melting processes, there will be materials. Now material means you have your raw materials, you have your end materials, what you want to produce as the end grade. But to produce that end grade, you have list of raw materials that we have seen in last 2 days. You are using different type of materials as a raw material. How to make the right grade from combination of different materials. So basically Material Master is the library of your materials which knows material name, material composition or stock of different materials available in your company. Then you have your furnaces. So you may have one furnace or two furnace or something like that. So each furnace, its capacity, the furnace has just maybe the, you know, the what we have seen even the last 2 days session, that there will be your refractories and all these materials which need to be maintained. Minimum refractories, false matters, otherwise it could damage your furnace and so on and so forth. So those aspects we will record here and observe and see that those parameters are also included. Charge mix master is a combination of your raw materials to produce your final X grade. What combination and quantities of your raw material you will use if you want to make ADC12, let's say in a furnace of 1000 kg or 500 kg or 1500 kg. So in that respect, your combination of raw material will be different if you are going to make it in 500 or 1500. Of course, it may be just multiplication of that, but still there will be quantity will be more. So that's mainly your charge mix master. Furnace planning is kind of you are planning for the day. So in a one day, how much quantity of liquid melt you want to produce from your furnace. Now, to produce that furnace, what raw materials you require, how much output material you will get from that, and those parameters can be planned. Okay, so this is more of your planning, where you know for each day how much is your target production against what you're actually getting melt, or let's say ingots or whatever is your finished product. Then your melt report is basically digitization, where your all melt process parameters will be recorded from Android or iOS phone or the tablet or from PC web browser. So this all data what I'm mentioning here will be available to you 24/7 on your Android, iOS phone or your web browser across the platform. Then once you get the melt reports, of course you get the SpectroCoin, you need to mention your spectro result, and then the spectrometer, once you take the result, the system will suggest you what late addition alloy you should put into the furnace. Now basically this is very, very useful for, of course, iron and steel iron and steel. But because the participants here coming from the background where you are smelting and melting process using different raw materials, this aspect will also matter for aluminum, because now you have to decide that if my spectro says that silicon is 0.5% less than my target silicon percentage. So in order to get 0.5% silicon in the furnace of 500 or 1000 kg, what amount of silicon you need to add upon in terms of kg? This calculation we are doing in the late addition alloy application on our own. So you get specific that, okay, by just entering the silicon spectrometer value, system will automatically calculate what amount of kg you need to add of silicon into this current furnace to get the desired chemistry or target. And then finally, of course, in pouring, in your case, it will be automation of your ingots, or that is rotationary mechanism that is going on. But of course, you will have a track for every batch you make, how many ingots you produce, to get the complete full traceability from your ingot to your pouring material, pouring temperature, to your charge mix, to your process parameter. Everything can be traced, and I will show you practically as well to get you some insight of this. Of course, there will be maintenance planning or breakdown that you can also record directly from the shop floor through mobiles as well. So this is schematic that I just wanted to show you. I will skip the slides here because it is also showing the same thing. So I will try to show you directly into the application so you get a little bit more insight. What you see here, these are the applications that will open into your Android, iOS and web. I am opening right now into web for a better visibility, but same app can be open in the phones as well. So you can see these are a combination of apps, and this is starting from like right from furnace master and so on and so forth. So first of all, furnace master means you will have for your plant how many furnaces are there, what are the capacity. This will be one-time effort to enter the data. So system knows your all furnace data. As I was mentioning, your refractory materials and what is the minimum. So that means, let's say for your furnace, if you have defined that, okay, it should not go for my side or bottom thickness below this thickness. So let's say the actual defined value is 130, defined value is 130 and actual side wall thickness right now available is 98. Now, if this material somehow broken or goes down, we can also find out, or you need to do maintenance that can be mentioned over the period of time while doing melting. Next is like material. So here you will define whether it's a casting material, in your case ingot material, or your output grade material. So what is the material you want to produce as an output, and what is the chemical composition of this material grade. For example, you can enter silicon, let's say from 9 to 12, okay, and my target value is to 11. That's what I want to achieve, for example. So you can add your chemical composition of your copper and all other elements for every material. Same way, if you are putting some raw materials, now here if you are purchasing a raw material, let's say aluminum alloy wheels or engine component or aluminum frames or any other mixed scrap, you could define your own raw material. Every raw material has its own composition. We could have a chemical composition of every lot that you purchase, and we utilize that chemical composition later on for our late addition and the calculation, or you keep it as a thumb rule, because in India it's many foundries or many locations, they cannot segregate. Like if you purchase a 1 ton material, next 1 ton material comes, it is going to mix up. So you don't know whether a whole 1 ton is utilized or it is going to mix. That's why we have given both possibilities to work with that. So basically what you are doing is that this will be your library and know-how. So your customer specifications is already recorded, so we can use it every time in future for spectrometer, for your making alloys, for your quality certificates and so on and so forth. Then next would be your details, specifically let's say in terms of charge mix. Now this is interesting. What you see, what I was saying is that there is a statement from the industry that there is a lack of skill and know-how how to make aluminum grades or iron or steel, it doesn't matter. That means, in other words, that there are very few people who knows how to make ADC12 rightly, in simple words. So what you are saving here, let's say right now you have a person who has 20 years of experience how to make ADC12. So what you are saying in this system, that if I wanted to make ADC12 and I want to make this, let's say in my furnace of 500 kg. So what amount of combination of charge mix I should use as a raw material to make this grade? So let's say if you are making LM12 or LM2 or 4 or 16 or ADC or ALSI 13, of course the mix of charge mix you use for making that grade will be different from one part to another. So that is what you are defining here in the master, that whenever I will make ADC12, what I'm saying is that use, let's say my alloy wheel scrap. Okay, so now you see the alloy wheel scrap combination and its chemistry is already here. It also of course shows me the stock, and I'm saying that okay, use this material 120 kg every time when you make ADC12 in 500 kg furnace. So in other words, your know-how, what is the right way to make ADC12 is now not in the brain or somewhere on just paper. That means if I am the smelting person in your company and if I'm not there, somebody can come to the system and utilize this by just one click, make ADC12 grade in 500. So system will inform, okay, you want to make this grade, please add aluminum alloy 120 kg. Nobody needs to call that person who is on leave. Okay. Now, same way, add upon all other elements that you are putting up. For example, I am adding more mixed scrap. That should be, let's say, another 230 kg. I'm just adding some random figures, yeah. So I'm not sure it is right, maybe wrong. So I want to add both of this, and then let's say I want to add a silicon powder as well, quantity 20 kg in my furnace. Maybe in late edition you are putting more. This is what you are putting into the furnace while making plus minus. So this is again a recipe will be different from part to part. So once you save this, your recipe, and it also shows how much metal you put inside material. So this is just to give you insight how you are making this. Now the use of that charge mix, what you have just made, will be here. So I am the guy now and I don't know how to mix charge mix. What I know is I want to make ADC12 tomorrow morning and I want to produce 500 kg or 110, whatever. So all I need to take is, it will show me a list of charge mix available in my foundry or my melting. So it says, okay, ADC12 or LM13. For example, I am making only 2 grades. So let's say I am saying I want to make ADC12 tomorrow. Okay, I want to make it tomorrow morning. And in my first shift, I will start it, let's say morning 8, something like this. And this may be finished by, I don't know, 0850 or something like that. Just random. Okay, now I can also define the batch code right now. Okay, that means that for traceability purpose, and I will show you later on, by just clicking on a batch code of this, I could trace exactly this ingot was made in which furnace and what amount of scrap I have put on that day. I will be able to trace that. On the other side, with the same heat code, I could also trace, of course, my spectral result and quality test and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's say I'm using just A092021, something like this, my heat code or batch code, whatever you're using. Now you see that this table shows already what I should put. That means again that I was saying that if skilled manpower is not available, fine. I just need one-time consultant who can guide me what is the right way I should put this combination. Now my employees will only follow this guideline without question, because this has been put here, this quantity has been put it here with some thought, with some trials, and it is working for my foundry, my smelting process. Now you see the person has all the details. As a planner, if I don't want to use this material, for example, for any reason is not available or XYZ, of course I could change it. Okay, so now I'm saying to my melting guy tomorrow that don't use 120 kg, just use 100 kg of this scrap. This is just for random possibilities. It may not be the case because generally you have enough stock of raw material. It's not like your raw material is going to end. Generally that is not happening, but in case if it happens, you have a possibility. Now what you see here, that by adding this material, okay, and if I add upon let's say instead of 300 I will add in 400 kg. Now what you see in this table, it is showing me that what could be my bath chemistry. I have not started my melt. I have not started put any furnace on. I have not put any material in my furnace. Despite that, this table intimates that in this case, if you put this quantity of combinations, what will be your chemistry of your carbon, silicon and elements. Now this is of course mathematical formula, right? So it may be plus minus. If my scrap has some other elements put inside, it may change. But still I know that, okay, this range is right. I can play this risk. I think yesterday or today, I forgot, probably Mr. Rao was mentioning that still many melting in aluminium are not using some of the unconventional material. That means that some materials are available, but it is not a standard material, so people are not using them because they don't know its impact going to happen in your furnace or in your chemistry. So this is a platform where you can think and try that if I use a combination of A, B, C material, what will be my combination? Or if I use B and C, if I change the composition, or sorry, if I change the quantity, what will happen? If I get a new material which is cheaper from X country, what is the impact if I use it in my foundry? You know, you can just get some samples, do the spectro and see if it is suitable for not. So this kind of thing could be play around over here. Now next to this, what will happen, that once you see the actual melt started, now my melt, when tomorrow morning will start, they will take the actual time. For example, it has started 8:10 instead of 8, something like this, and then of course the actual end time and so on and so forth. So who is the melt in charge person? What are the meter reading start for this? When meter reading will add, he will enter the meter reading end, something like this. And of course this furnace details and everything. So now here you can see the melting person will automatically get all the data which is planned for him. So that means he has to strictly just go through it and follow this procedure. He will be able to see that. So once he will start adding, he will enter what actually amount of raw material you have added. So again, like I would, I want to add the mixed scrap. So I will just select mixed scrap and say, okay, I have added mixed scrap 380 or 400, what it is planned for me. Here, I can even take pictures directly from the mobile of the weighing scales. So if you are putting on the crane or if you are putting on the hopper or something like that, those weighing can be traced just for the purpose of internal QC. Okay, so you can see that is the actual plan what you have with raw material, the same plan has been followed or not in terms of mixing or using it while making a furnace of heat. This is just same way you can keep adding your materials. So that means it will show you net charge weight, and you are also spectro point temperature. You can say when you take what was that 510 or 520 or 600, whatever it is the case, you will add upon your temperature for that and you can save this. So this is what you have done up to the melting. Now once you come to the spectro, you will select your result what you have prepared. So this is a furnace F1, this is coming from there, my heat code and everything is there. Now you will see that I have to select my material. So I'm talking about LM13. Now this is interesting that I'm adding my actual spectrometer values. Let's say my spectrometer value is 4.5. Just let's take one example of silicon. What you will see that of course there are recovery percentage given. You can change this recovery percentage, it will show its impact. And what you see that if I have a silicon value of 4.5, my target is 11 to 13, so definitely it will ask me to add so much of material here, right? So that means there are not enough silicon, so you have to do more. Okay, so that means now I can, for example, the result is not 4.5, but it was, let's say 9% there. Now you will see it is asking me to add silicon 35, for example. So that means whenever you will add actual percentage of your spectrometer, the system will guide you. This is important. System will guide you what amount of elements you need to add upon, whether it's a silicon or nickel or copper or XYZ. It will give you what amount of element you need to add upon. Now this is one of the biggest challenge, as I again repeat, that most of the people are complaining that there are not know-how. So point is that if your chemistry is there, the system can guide you what needs of amount you need to add upon, and most probably you will add upon like silicon powder or copper ball or something like this to compensate this mismatch. In some case you may add upon more silicon scrap or something if you are segregating silicon scrap, something like that, but very rare if somebody is able to do that at that level. Now you will see that once you save this, it will, the late edition is again the melting guy on the deck, okay, who is on the shop floor. Now he will see this table live. So whatever amount of your spectrometer reading is there, this person is able to see, and now you can see the instruction has been given that okay, you need to add this, these are okay, this is add, and so on and so forth. So the moment, let's say this person from the shop floor, if adds silicon powder, he knows that okay, I need to add a silicon powder of this quantity, so nobody needs to send the cheat on the paper or something, and this is all recorded, right? So you can trace if something happens to this or a customer complains silicon was not right, you will have all the records. The second part is that you can also play with recovery here. If you know recovery is changing, you can change recovery, so its reflection in the system will be live. So you don't need to put a calculate or Excel formula. This is what most probably many foundries or the melting guy will do to inform them what needs to be added. So once you enter all this details of your late edition, of course, then you will be able to see in this late one, like what pouring parameters are there. So now using this last details, you will say, okay, what is a liquid metal in your, let's say in this case, in the furnace you have, and then you will say, okay, this part you have to LM12 or 13, how many you have poured. So accordingly, if I say I have taken 12, then it will show you the quantity and it knows what amount of ingots you will produce. So this gives you a complete loop of your end-to-end, like from your furnace, your material master to charge mix. This is what we have just seen, and it will also record the temperatures, your pouring parameters, and so on and so forth. So this is also possible that all your technical parameters are recorded, not just material or consumption. Because for traceability or for root cause analysis, your technical and process parameters are also important. Now question is, if I do all this thing, what will I get in return? Of course, everybody has some expectations that if my team follows all this thing, what is an output I can get? So let me show you some of the analytics that you may get. And I was showing that you can even do traceability of that. I can just load this and you will see what is the graph of every area I will be able to put upon. So let me just fetch it from my another application. Just a moment, I will just load this again. Yeah, so for example, here you can see this is my daily material consumption for all the dates. I will just make it a little bit full screen so you will be able to see them. Okay, so you can see my consumption of aluminum scrap or wheel scrap or my silicon on every date or heat wise. So this is now, I was saying that for every batch code you can trace it. You can also select the dates and you can apply on that specific date or within a month or something like this. This kind of dashboard can be designed as per your requirement for that. This is your daily power consumption. So for every heat or every date, what is your power consumption has been utilized for this, and also power cost. So if we put the unit cost of power, definitely we can get the power cost of every day basis or every heat basis could be also possible. Your continuous heat. Now I want to see the melting loss, so I can see on daily basis what is my melting loss. If I want to select for specific furnace 1, so now you will see my furnace 1 melting loss is what I can see here. Okay, if I select only furnace 2, then I can see my furnace 2 melting loss, and that will be also again date wise, so that you can have a possibilities to see the date or range wise. Now this is also interesting, you will see from the code wise. Now these are my batch code. You can say heat code, batch code, whatever name you use. This is basically for your traceability. Now some customers complain me that on this 15th heat code there are some problems, and I want to do the root cause analysis. What has happened or what has gone to this batch? So what you can see, this was produced in furnace 1, this batch, of course. So maybe you have not just one ingot, but of course batch of that. So this was the result. Then what was the aluminum scrap or silicon, or what amount of raw materials have been used, what was the melt loss, number of ingot produced in this batch, okay, and power consumption and power loss. So this is what you can see even in the graphical format as well. But the idea is that it allows you to trace back your on that process parameters. We could also include in this like pouring temperature, or let's say the real-time data collections. If you are doing, you can take from that. We can have a spectral result of that batch code can be also displayed in this table. So the idea is that by clicking on one code, you could see the history of that, and that could make your life much more easier, because this is one of the challenging tasks, whether it's a casting or ingot and traceability of that. This is quite challenging. So this is a purpose of that for various. This is, you can see the stock. So if I want to see a date or range wise or category wise only the raw material stock, so I can see stock of that. I could also select a specific date or any range. Then I can see that on that date what has happened. For example, if I go to June, let's say, and you select one, then it will show you for that day your data for that range, like 18 to July 9. So this is what you can see, stock of your materials or even stock of your ingots can be also seen. So if I want to see not the raw material stock but ingot stock, so I will remove raw materials, and now I can see the ingot weights. So this is showing me my stock of ingots in my company available between this date or on specific date. That could be also possible. So this is, you get an idea why we are recording this data, and the purpose is that we can on a single platform, if you are able to using some advanced furnaces who are providing you real-time process data, you real-time furnace data, this parameter we could also bring or import or through API interface to get the real-time data of your SCADA system, and those remaining which are manual practice of your spectrometer, your charge mix preparation, your melt report, those manual we are also recording on the same platform. So that means on a single platform, instead of having an island solution, all your process data and a complete operations can be visible to one level. And if you are using an ERP software, we could interface this data for your sales, purchase, all those operations. We can interface data as well to give them the stock or take a new stock from them or something like that. So this is a possible interface with them. This will, what I just show you in the application, so I will skip this part. Just to give you a brief of what is the difference of this kind of technologies, why it is different from a server based. So what we have shown you is actually a cloud based solution which works on Android, iOS, both the mobile technologies and platform, as well as web. So technically the point is that you don't need any server. You will not invest anything on your physical server, which is in a small scale difficult to maintain server, and you need an IT person and some problems and bugs and maintenance. It's a cost. You don't have any server cost. You don't need any Windows MS Office license, which you all need to invest. Even if you want to use third party or XYZ and another software, still you need Windows and server and MS Office. So even those costs will not be there. Your laptop or desktop is not required, because as I was saying, India is a mix of combination. We have certain operations automized, certain operations not. But the great thing has happened to India over the period of last 10 years at least, that now even your shop floor users are equipped with smartphones. This is the age that India has compared to others, which as a company owner and team, you could utilize this to get real-time data from their own mobile as well. Or if you want, you could provide them tablets or some kind of facilities for data reporting. So that is the advantage which allows you to save your cost on investing on laptop, desktop and server and so on and so forth. Of course, software development or purchase is not required. So this is not a perpetual, it's a subscription based module what you are saying. So it allows Indian companies to first try, taste, get used to, adopt it, and then ensure that money is not wasted. So this is an Indian based technologies that is developed considering all the aspects from the Indian point of view that we have learned in last 10 years. What are the challenges in implementing system and technology, in whether it's an investment, whether it's my user will not be able to, technology is great, but my user will not be able to. Very complex, my user will still say, okay, I have to fill the paper, again go to the office and enter the data into the desktop and server. So this is again all type of challenges you will face while implementing any system on the shop floor, which we have tried to overcome. Then of course, very additional cost you see is comparatively very less, no AMC cost, mobile application available from day one. Implementation time is one of the biggest headache. Okay, so here we are talking about in terms of weeks implementation time and not months and year. Your learning curve is very easy because this shop floor team are now used to mobile phone. Probably they know a little bit more than us how to play with mobile phones and technologies in sometimes. So this is where we could utilize this skill. Train new employees easy because you don't need a long PDF and videos, just click them and show them, so they will be able to easily learn that. So what if solution like, okay, I invested and then realized in perpetual license that, okay, it's not useful, my employees are reluctant to it, this is not right solution for me, your money is waste. So here you can see this type of solution, which is a subscription cost base. So you will not lose your money, you are paying for only what you have used. So again, I'm highlighting this point from the point of view that this kind of technologies are there to help Indian foundries to be more competitive with less investment and less risk, which we need to consider as an Indian community, that our own fellow citizens and fellow businessmen get one by one step to the digitization and not having a risk of that loss of money and time. White label app can be also possible for your company and branding, so it is also available. So the idea what I wanted to put up here is that it's not only a process. Yes, there will be challenge and know-how will not come in one day. What you have to do is, what know-how available with you, how you systematically digitize them and take to the level that you yourself could benefit of it. So that is more important, and even there you will know that one-to-one foundries are same or doing making inputs, still you will not be able to copy their process. So this is a very unique thing, that how you are making your process is different than others. So you should take a baby steps to go into longer term and digitize your process. So I would be available for any questions answer. Thank you very much again for giving this opportunity, RT Conference and GDC Tech Forum. Thank you very much. And thanks all participations for your 2 days marathon discussion, questions answer, and it was very interesting and I learned as well.
Thank you, Mr. Bhushan Bhatt, for your nice information. And maybe this is nearer to 4.0 application in Foundry. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Any
much.
questions? Any questions from the audience? If there are no questions, then we would be.
He would like to ask.
Any question?
Have they done anywhere in India? This type of project.
There is a question from Mr. Parulekar. He wants to understand whether you have put it into application in India anywhere.
Yes, this application we have been already using for foundries, typically iron and steel foundries. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go on.
Unmute there.
Okay. So I will just answer the question that has been asked. This has been already in use in the iron and steel foundry. Coming to the melting process, or let's say recycling process, yet we have not any installations, but typically for foundries it is already in use.
Okay.
Okay, Bhushan, one question here.
Please.
Yeah, and I would request the audience, if you have any queries, you can directly approach Mr. Bhushan Bhatt for this innovative solution.
Okay. Bhushan, I just wanted to
Thank you very
check.
much.
I mean, I understand right now you're
Now we
using
come to
this.
so this is the conclusion of paper presentations.
There is
Now
one
we come to the
question.
last
If you could
session
allow,
of
there
the
is
conference.
someone is asking a
It's a
question.
valedictory function. At the onset, I must mention that
एक कोणतरी पियुष म्हणून आहे ते प्रश्न विचारतात.
okay. There is a question from Mr. Bhushan.
Okay, no, Mr. Bhushan, Piyush this side. I
Can you
wanted
see in
to.
your chat box?
Yes, Mr. Piyush, please go on. I can also hear you.
This
Okay.
app we can use other engineering industry.
Okay, I will
There's a
answer.
question from Mr. Piyush, from Mr. Gopinath.
Okay, I think Mr. Piyush is also asking question. I will answer both the question. So first of all, to question on the chat box, yes, this can be used in another engineering industry.
Can you take up the question?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Chat
Please
box,
go
there's a
ahead.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Okay, so regarding the first question, it can be used for other engineering industry. Depends on what industry it is. It may not be one-to-one possible to apply, because I don't know, engineering industry is a wide. So I just need to understand what type of engineering industry you are referring to. But in general, this concept, what you can see, this is the same concept I believe that in general engineering manufacturing will require, because I do not see whether it's a cement industry, foundry, casting, or other industry. You take an example, it is not going to be 100% robotic and automation, no matter how many exhibitions we visit in Germany, Europe, US, or XYZ. It is not feasible for India. We have to find the right combination of this in India, and that is why I believe that the workforce and the skill of mobile we need to utilize, because the mobile phone sending data from mobile application in real time is nothing less than IoT. In other words, IoT is sending data automatically, capturing from the machine in real time and sending it to the server or cloud. Here the person is pushing a button of submit after entering some data and sending you. So the point is, the mobile itself is one IoT device. If you use it smartly in any engineering or any industry, it should work. So this is why I say that yes, technically your answer to your question is yes, it can be utilized to other engineering industry as well. Mr. Piyush, please ask your question.
Okay, so Mr. Bhushan, since I understand this is applicable for other industries as well, first let me appreciate the fact that your knowledge of the foundry casting is quite well versed in tandem with the technological aspect as well. I mean, the application aspect. So is it possible that we can customize the software to kind of also add maybe smelting as one form? And because I saw a lot of rotary furnaces and
yes,
parameters which could be kind of correlated with other KPIs as well. So is it possible that we can customize the software?
Yes, yes, it is a fully customizable, and believe me, even if we make this application for foundry, we realize that foundry to foundry, I mean iron to iron and steel to steel, I'm not even comparing iron to aluminum, the requirement from the customer is still leads us to do customization of at least 20-30%. So of course, if I compare iron to aluminum or smelting process, customization may be 40% or 50%, but that is possible. Just to give you a specific, even little bit more insight, we are using an advanced technology of no code platform. So that means that we are not doing any hard coding in the background, and we don't have any IT person in our team. So all our team coming from engineering and manufacturing background, who have designed all this application graphs and everything what you see, because that is the biggest issue, that when you do hard coding application, you cannot change it. And I mean, as far as engineering sector and maybe others, there will be frequent change, some norms changing, some part to part requirement changing, grade to grade changing. That change is continuous. So that is where that interest is getting lost, because they want to adopt this changing, and the IT industry is not able to understand those technicalities and engineering aspect of that leads to loss of interest in the users or in the industry. That's where little bit of gap between, despite being IT available, not able to use and penetrate in engineering sector so far in India, as I see this way.
Okay, 3 more follow-up questions basically. Is it possible to have an interface with the spectrometer readings, number 1?
Yes.
And second would be, is it possible to have an interface with the ERP which the company is using? Say, for example, we are using SAP or we are using any other software. Is an interface possible? Number 3 is, do you also have an inventory management system in terms of spares, accessories, apart from the raw materials, obviously? So, I mean, just 3 follow-up questions.
Sure. I will answer all of them. So regarding first interface with spectrometer, yes, it is available. As of now, we have not been able to, get automatic data from spectrometer, because maybe in modern spectrometer it is available, but we haven't seen, those at least in 5-6 years or something, that those spectrometer has a possible to give you output file in terms of Excel or CSV file. So our system allows you to upload the CSV file from that spectrometer. Okay, so we can write a small, let's say, automation where the CSV file spectrometer is copying the spectrometer CSV file on a specific location, and we are reading this file automatically from that location. That automation is available, but spectrometers is sending data automatically to cloud that we haven't able to seen so far, and we need more and more support from spectrometer OEM, or if we could put some external IoT device to take it to the cloud and take from cloud to not exchange via CSV, that possible. So again, to just summarize this answer, yes, it is possible to import CSV and Excel file from spectrometer, or if they are putting on the server, we can automatically fetch from particular location every spark it is. That was answer to that. Second, we have this software as an API open. So basically API means for any cloud solutions, they are allowing you to exchange data with third-party software. So in this case, SAP is a third-party software. We have already done interface with SAP. We have done interface with TCS Ion. So these are already platforms where this API, because SAP also offers API, TCS Ion also has API, so we are able to connect with them. Only thing is we need to know which SAP version you are using, because I think the old version of SAP may have some issues with the API, but at least the HANA and other platforms are already supporting API, so it should work. And the last one is inventory management. Yes, we could have a list of items. You can define which items you want to keep into your SAP for inventory and which items you want to keep inventory into our system. So both are possible, but practically what we are doing is that those items where a person does not have a connections or is not capable or not able to handle the SAP or otherwise, those inventory management is able to do in our system because it's much more easier. And then the admin office are maintaining their purchase or the inventory into SAP because their team are quite equipped and learned for that. So that is how we are differentiating while implementing as per customer requirement. We follow this practice.
Okay, I also saw maintenance as part of your dashboard. So
Yes.
if I were to, if I'm allowed to ask one more question, is it possible that we have, say, for example, one parent asset and then we create 5 or 6 sub assets in order to have a maintenance program throughout the life cycle of the asset? So if, for example, if a rotary furnace has got a stirrer and the stirrer is replaced twice or thrice, I'm just assuming, I'm just framing up a question here. So if we change the stirrer twice or thrice, so there is either a capex or an opex involved. So is it possible to keep a track of the entire health and the life of the asset through the maintenance dashboard?
When you say replace this part or change the new part, do you want to also measure that how many production in terms of kg or how many days its life was there?
Exactly.
We are doing this already. You are aware that in terms of iron or steel foundry, they need to know that when they make a lining, what was the life of this lining was there. So we are already doing this for that. And also we are doing this for tools. So let's say in foundry, whether they are making a mold patterns, they want to know the life of this mold pattern. So if it is designed for 25,000 mold box cycle production, whether the tool life has achieved 25,000 or tool has been scrapped just by 10,000 life. So those parameters and those things we are already implementing in this area. So your answer to your question is same. It's just a different thing, but we are already maintaining or monitoring this thing using the same platform and application.
Thank you so much for answering. I'll connect with you again. I have your details. Sure. I'll connect with you. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bhushan. Especially the last point which you clarified regarding IT and engineering background people. It is, I think, very well valid and useful to found industry people to understand better. Thank you very much.